Hi, it's Linda with CreativePLR.com, and today we're going to talk about widgets. And widgets are, in the tech world, widgets are things like step counters on your devices, calorie counters, calendars, a to-do list, any of those little icons that you have on your phone, your iPad. Those were in the tech world originally called widgets. And content creators have taken the word widgets because it's a modular unit that, helps you plan and organize. And so we've taken that term and we're applying it to these little modular units that we're going to use to create planners and journals. Now, all they are is different pieces that you would have in a planner. Okay, so let me show you what not a finished planner would look like, because it's certainly not finished, but it's my practice layout. Okay. And so you might have, now these are colored, so you might have this layout on a daily page. And because I've changed all these into images, I can easily resize them to fit the page. And this page is 8.5 by 11. If you're working with A4, you would have an A4 page that you would actually design on. And you can rearrange them however suits you. And you notice that this piece is extra. This piece is my bit of color that I'm going to add without having to go back to PowerPoint and recolor my widgets. Okay, so different units that you could make, and they're easy to resize when you're actually designing your planner, and you can use whatever. You could decide you don't like this, you want to import something else. And so I design them in PowerPoint, and then when I get something that I like, I save it as a picture. And when you're saving in PowerPoint, you want to set up your file to make sure that it's high quality. And you do that by going over to File, you scroll down where it says More, and under Options, you're going to go to Advanced. And if you scroll down, you'll notice it says Default Resolution High Fidelity. So I always change that to 330 because I know that's the highest possible. I'm not quite sure about high fidelity. High fidelity could be a little bit less, but I know 330 is perfect. And then I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to save my file. And once I save my file, every time I log into this, it's going to be at 330. Now, I still look and check before I start saving things because I want to make sure. And so using these modular units, it's really easy to resize, reorganize, and line them up, put them anywhere you want to, rather than doing it in PowerPoint or any other design program that you may use. So that what happens is when you start redesigning a planner and you're doing it in the planner instead of using these modular units, it gets a little tricky. And then, think about it. You've done 3 planners in the past year by creating each one from scratch without using some kind of starter. You're spending a lot of time and energy creating those units, creating those planners, when, let's face it, here's a January calendar. Why do I need to recreate the January calendar over and over again? I've already got it. I can save it as an image. Why do I need to recreate some of these trackers over and over again? Once I've done it one time, and that little bit of color in the back, I can take away, and I could recolor this. This is already an image. Okay, it's an image. It's not it was originally created as a table. It's not a table anymore. It's an image. It has a hint of color in it. So I can go up to picture format, and I can say color, and I can say, maybe I want that hint of blue now. And then I can take this, and I can go to shape format, because that's all this is. And I can say, give me a hint of blue to match it. That's one thing I can actually do inside the planner to add a little bit of color without having to go back to my original PowerPoint. Now, my original PowerPoint, I've created all types, and I do keep this and add to it. So this one is 11 inches tall, and it's like 13.3 inches wide. Doesn't matter how wide it is. I wanted some space so I could do several things on one page without having to worry about, adding a different page, maybe cutting and pasting a lot. And so I've got a lot of pages and a lot of different things, and all these are different kinds of tables. So this was a table where I've got all the days of the week. This could be a planning page, a daily planning page, or it could be a menu planner. And I've got the color in here, and this is why I like to save them in PowerPoint. So if I want to go back and instead of recoloring the whole thing like I just did in with the picture format, I could actually recolor this in PowerPoint. And I could recolor this in any color that I want because it's a table. And if I want to make it in yellow, I could. Oh my gosh, that yellow is really bright, isn't it? Let's make it that color. And it's easy to recolor in PowerPoint. And so if I wanted to use this in a planner that I'm doing for the fall in those colors, then I could just click on the outside edge and I could save it as a picture. And I have a whole bunch of widgets here. Lots and lots and lots of them. So anything that you normally see in a planner, I have a little picture already made. Okay, I have my daily planner on a 2-page layout that's landscaped, both Sunday and Monday start. I have that you just saw, that's a Sunday start. This one's a Monday start. I have these individual units that I could use. I have my monthly, and I'm going to do a Sunday and Monday start of this. So you could do the monthly. You could have anything that you want to put in a planner already pre-done. And then when you get ready to make the planner, it's just a case of putting in a new image and swapping it out so you could redesign it. So let's do a couple and so you can kind of get the idea. I'm sure that you've used tables before. Let's say we want to do just a simple to-do list. And so you would have in a planner, you might have to-do lists of all different sizes. You might have a short to-do list. You might have a longer to-do list. And so you would want space for, I'm going to say, a box or a place to check off. And it could be, and I like to work with a larger size because it's easier for me to see. Maybe you don't want to keep the outside edge of this table. And so you would say all outside borders. I want all inside borders. So you'd have the outside borders, and maybe I don't want this one. So I would go back to this and I would highlight that. And I don't want the right border, and I don't want the bottom border. Okay. Now I still have a table where there's two different columns. Okay, so now all I have is the line to actually write. Maybe I want a full page of to do. And so now I can decide, do I want a box, a square to check things off, or do I want another shape? And you can use any shape you want. It's kind of fun to use different shapes. Maybe you want to use a heart, and you would use the heart, and the shape format would be, you would fill it with white and people could check it off. Maybe you want to use, maybe you want to use a box. Not quite sure if anybody want to use a generic box, but I use them. We go back, shape fill, and we have a generic box. Now, if you don't think that outline is enough, then you can go in and you can make the outline a little stronger, just like that. Or you could use a round shape, and I kind of like the round shape. Same thing, shape fill, and we might want to make our outline, our outside edge just a little darker. And then you just pick whichever one you want and you can line them up, or you can alternate them. That's kind of fun too, isn't it? And then you would just highlight everything there, right click, save as a picture. It's going to save at 330 DPI, and then you'd be able to use this to-do list. Now, you decided once you got over there and you said, well, I didn't want a full page, you could come back to your PowerPoint file, you could make it smaller and resize it and save it again. And you could add to it, make it longer. That's why I keep the PowerPoint, with all of these different sizes and images in there, in case I want to revise it easily without having to make it all over again. And I can easily do that. Let's get rid of the heart and let's add a circle. And then when I get ready to make my planner, it's a question. I have all these options of different units, modular units that I can use to create my planner, my unique planner layout, not like everybody else's, but with a little bit of color and a little bit of difference. I hope this was helpful and you start creating widgets to make your planners.